Hello, hello. I'm Christy Forsyth. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what's happening in the energy, the collective energy, the energy that probably each and every one of you are feeling on some level, and how you can make the most of it, how you can use it to your benefit. Basically, this is how you hack the system for the week so that you can make the most of everything that's going on. So we are going to dive into the channeled messages that I have connected with in regard to this energy. We're going to talk a little bit about the astrology, and then we will wrap up the reading with a tarot reading where we will pull cards. I've already pre-shuffled the deck so that we can build upon the messages that we've already connected with and make sure that we covered everything that we wanted to cover. So if you are watching live, make sure you say hello. If you are watching on the replay, make sure you say hello. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel and you would like more things like this, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that you follow me on Facebook or wherever you're watching this so that you can make sure that you're connecting with all of the messages. Let me know how you guys are feeling. There's been an intensity in the air, certainly. We have been in Mercury retrograde. We have been in this Lionsgate portal. And so there's been a lot that we are navigating. Hi, Louise. Nice to see you here. There's been a lot that we've been navigating. There's been a lot that we've been trying to process, trying to get clear on. And I made a video last week where I was talking about how our bodies are feeling and how we are responding to the intensity of some of these shifts, some of these things that are happening with the Schumann resonance and the geomagnetics and just everything that's going on with the downloads that we're receiving through the Lionsgate portal, all of that. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out because I think that I did a more detailed job of explaining all of that. And I'm not going to go through all of that today. So make sure you check that out so that you know what's going on. But I will acknowledge I felt pretty tired. I felt pretty off in a lot of ways. I think I was saying that last Tuesday during my reading that I just felt kind of like dizzy and nauseous a little bit and all of these things. And I still kind of feel that way. It comes and it goes. And I've just been making sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I am going to bed if I feel tired, that I'm getting rest, that I'm not trying to push myself too hard, that I am honoring what it is that I feel like I'm needing. I think that that's the key to navigating this energy, to be asking ourselves, what is it that I am needing right now? So we are in this Mercury retrograde, and if you're watching this the week that this is intended for, so today is the 5th, and this will last all the way through the last day of Mercury retrograde, which is on the 11th of August. So this last week feels like it's really closing us out. It's helping us to wrap up this retrograde, having done the work that we needed to do during this time period. So the image that I got, because Mercury retrograde tends to stir up old stuff. It tends to bring up to the surface the things that we need to deal with so that we can move forward as a better version of ourselves. And then you'll see there are issues with miscommunications. You've probably had experiences with that. There can be issues with just feeling overwhelmed or frazzled or challenged in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of things that will pop up, but most of it is happening for us in order to help us to work through that. So the image that I got for this last week when I was meditating on this was the image of when you deep clean your house. Okay, so energetically, I think that we are deep cleaning our energy field. So we are like picking up the rugs and we're shaking them out and we're sweeping underneath them and we're going through the closets and we're going through that and we're taking a look at the things in the closets and we are deciding, do I still hold on to this? Do I let this go? We are getting nostalgic about the things that we're finding as we're cleaning up. So there's this whole process of revisiting things and reviewing things. But I'm also seeing that as we go through, just like when you clean your house, you shake up the energy and then it clears. That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling here. So you may find that there are surprising things this week that are coming up for you. Maybe stuff you thought you already dealt with, maybe things that you didn't even realize was an issue, and then all of a sudden you're triggered by something in a surprising way, or something comes back around. It doesn't have to be a massive challenge. This can be a little thing, a little inconvenience that comes up, and it's an opportunity to deal with it. It's an opportunity to address it so that you can clean house on all of the things in your energy field that you're ready to let go of, that you're ready to release. So I see that happening a lot this week. So be mindful of that and try not to let it throw you off too much, because part of the invitation this week is to allow ourselves to step into our magic and to step into a higher experience for ourselves, a better experience for ourselves. In fact, we have a full moon that is happening on the 9th, and I think that full moon is the invitation to step into something higher, to step into a higher version of ourselves, to step into something that is better for us, to take something to the next level in a way that feels better. So I think that there's all of that that is happening, and that's going to be there. And reminder that we're also in a really magical portal. We're in the Lionsgate portal, and that is also going to be peaking this week on 8/8. And by the way, on 8/8 at 8 p.m., we are doing our live Q&A in my membership. We're going to talk about the Lionsgate. We're going to set some intentions together, because when you do things together, it is that much more powerful. And then we're going to talk about the things that you want to talk about. So if you're not in my membership yet, what are you even doing? Because we cover all the things in there. We're also doing a magnetize your money challenge right now that's going to be happening over the course of 5 weeks, but you can do this in your own timing at your own pace, on top of the 4 years worth of content that I already have in there. So I put the link below for you to check all of that out in case you feel like you want to join us. We're having a good time in there, and we're creating quite a beautiful community. And this is a powerful time to join. I've already gotten feedback from people of money and opportunities that are showing up for people, and we're only on day 2. So join us for the live, join our beautiful little community that we are creating. But anyway, so to come back to that, the Lionsgate portal, the peak of the Lionsgate portal is a really powerful day. And it is a day that you're going to want to set some intentions. And it's a day that I want to encourage you to believe in something higher, to believe in something better, to believe that things can get better, that to believe in a better story for yourself, for your life. And I want you to hold that story as much as you can. Maybe you want to do something to set some intentions that day, or to do some form of intentional manifestation writing, doing a vision board, just thinking about, visualizing, daydreaming about the things that you want, but letting yourself go into that place of the possibilities, that things can be better, that things can be different, that things can be lighter, that your story from this point forward can be better. In fact, I just had this conversation in my session with somebody. I said, look at this thing is happening, and this thing is happening, and this thing is happening. And is that not evidence that you are moving into a time where things get to have more ease? And so I want you to look for that. I want you to look for the concrete evidence that things are getting better, things are getting lighter, things are moving in the right direction, and hold that, especially there on the Lionsgate. I think part of what's happening for us during this Mercury retrograde over the course of this week is that we are letting go of internal obstacles, the ways that we're holding ourselves back, the ways that we are sabotaging ourselves. And I want you to be really honest with yourself, really willing to take a look at that this week, the ways that you're holding yourself back. I would not be surprised if I saw that 8 of Swords showing up in the tarot card reading, because that's all about, how am I holding myself back? How am I keeping myself small? How am I keeping myself in a position that I don't even want to be in, that doesn't really serve me, because I'm afraid, because this is just how it's always been, or I'm afraid to trust that things can get better, or it makes me feel really vulnerable. But what if instead you leaned into that? And I think part of this, I think we felt in some ways a little bit more isolated, a little bit more in a place where we've wanted to put some walls up and be protective. And some of that is just like normal Mercury retrograde stuff. We do need to take time in our own energy and reflect and honor that. But also, I think there needs to be this week, or there's an invitation this week to shift out of that self-protection and that hypervigilance where we're constantly searching for what's going to go wrong, when's the other shoe going to drop, reasons that something isn't going to work out, reasons that we shouldn't lean into an opportunity. And I think we're looking at that and instead leaning into a new and better story. So if you see the possibilities that are coming through, I want to encourage you to lean into that. So that brings us to the big message that I got to this week, and that is for us to rise to the occasion. I don't know exactly what that means, but you're going to know, because you are going to be shown and prompted all throughout the course of this week how you are being encouraged to rise to the occasion. There is a step, there is a direction that you're being invited to move in. There is a way that you're being called to be more vulnerable. There is a boundary that's needing to be set. There is a conversation that you need to have. This is going to look different for everybody because this is a collective reading, not a private reading, right? But there's something here where you're going to feel it. You're going to know, I've got to rise to the occasion here. And by the way, you don't have to. You can stay where you are, but I think you're going to get more of the same. And what we're doing right now is important work, because I want you to keep in mind that we have eclipse season coming up in September. So yes, Mercury retrograde is ending, but then we have eclipse season coming in. So this is like prep for eclipse season, so that you are in the best place possible, so that you don't have to do so much work around eclipse season, which I think personally that sounds pretty good. How about you? So looking at that, and I think that over the course of this week, Mercury retrograde can make us kind of cloudy and unclear and unsure and not knowing what direction to move in. And I don't want you to move in a direction until you know what direction to move in. But I do think that we're going to be finding some clarity over the course of this week. And this brings us back to what I talked about last week in the weekly reading. Make sure you go back and watch that if you haven't, because there's a lot that's foundational to this week. But I talked about there is going to be a risk that will likely be worth taking. Now, is that true for everybody? Probably not. You have to feel into that for yourself and listen to your intuition. But I think that we're being called to take some kind of a risk. And as we feel into that and we take our time and we let it marinate, like we do during Mercury retrograde, we're going to start to see, yeah, maybe this is a risk worth taking. Maybe this is something I want to lean into. Maybe this is worth the risk. And so I think that we're opening to that. And I think that we're letting ourselves be more open to the vulnerability that comes with that. I'll be honest, I think that risk, or those risks, are something that make us really feel very vulnerable. And so that can feel scary. But I think that we need to be doing it anyway. And there's something about going the distance with something. Okay. So I think that it's like maybe something that had gotten a start and maybe came to a halt in some way, or has slowed down in some way. Especially retrogrades have this way of doing that. And we do have some other planets in retrograde as well. And it's like something came to a slowdown or a halt. And now there's something about this risk potentially, or something else is calling for us to go the distance with, to take it and run with it and take it to the next level. Or maybe it's 5 levels up, maybe it's 10 levels up, right? But seeing it through, revisiting something that maybe didn't move the way that we wanted it to move. Hi, Lance. Hi, Lynette. Nice to see you here. So I think that all of this is about letting us just kind of be open to all of it and to the new story and the willingness to rise to the occasion. We will be challenged, I think. This doesn't feel like this easy thing where it's just like, oh yeah, I feel really great about this. Do I think we'll feel good about it on some level? Yes. I think your intuition will. I think your soul will feel good about it because this is the direction that you need to go. But I think your ego is going to be like, are you sure? I don't know. This is really scary. This feels like a lot. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed, right? Like that's all of the internal dialogue. But I think this week we are going to be seeing some things for what they are and responding accordingly. So it might be a change. It might be some steps that you need to take. It might be a willingness to let go of something even. I think sometimes Mercury retrograde gives us this clarity of what we need to let go of. So if you know what that is, like if that's already coming through for you, if you're watching this later in the week and that's clear, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's happening for you. Are you noticing we are also getting upgraded in the best possible ways around this Lionsgate portal? So you don't want to step into, on the other side of this Lionsgate portal, you don't want to step into your life as the upgraded version of yourself, but you're not doing anything differently. That's not going to work. So let's get to the cards and see what the cards have to say to build upon these messages. This is what I'm talking about. 10 of Cups. I'm going to pull the cards. I will read them to you, and then we will talk about the meaning. So the 10 of Cups. Look how beautiful that is. You can get the vibe of that card. The 10 of Cups. This is something truly beautiful that we are creating. And I kind of think that we're finding our way out of the weeds. Like we're finding our way or the path or the steps to take toward the path of making this energy happen. 3 of Swords in reverse. We're healing. We're moving forward. We're letting go of the ways that we have been holding ourselves back. 9 of Cups in reverse. We're looking at fulfillment. We'll talk about these. The 3 of Pentacles. Working together. Collaboration. The King of Wands in reverse. Remembering our power, remembering our fire, coming back to that. And the 9 of Pentacles. Truly finding the things that we've been seeking. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so the 10 of Cups. Yeah, I think we might start to notice that we're on a path toward truly having the life we really want, the things we really want, the opportunities, whatever that is that you're manifesting. I think some evidence of that. Hi, Linda. Oh, Linda's watching all the way from South Africa. Welcome, Linda. Good morning to you. It's evening here, but I love that. Welcome. So, yeah, this is beautiful. This is like creating your happiest, best life. This is, as I said, we're being called into something higher, but you have to take the invitation. You have to open the door. You have to step up. You have to be willing to rise to the occasion because the occasion is going to pay off. Whatever this looks like. I would love to hear what this is. Oops, sorry. for you guys. I'm slamming my microphone around. And the 3 of Swords in reverse. We had to focus on some things that needed to be healed because they needed to be healed. Because how do we create the 10 of Cups if we haven't let go of some things, if we haven't been willing to look at some things, if we haven't been willing to spend some time in our energy to process some things, if we haven't been willing to take some space to honor what it is that we need, to honor our inner child and do work around that, if we haven't been willing to look at the ways that our walls, our blockages, our self-protection has been holding us back, ask yourself that question. How has your self-protection been holding you back from happiness or from having something really wonderful? How are you holding yourself back? because you don't believe you deserve it, because you don't believe you can have it, because you're afraid it's not going to work out. It's no way to live. And it's time for us to let that go. Because Nine of Cups in reverse, the pathway toward fulfillment starts with our willingness to make some moves, to rise to the occasion, to take steps in the direction of that 10 of Cups, right? We have the 9 of Cups here, but if we aren't willing to move toward the 9 of Cups, how the hell will we get to the 10 of Cups? So I want you to trust yourself and trust what feels right, what you know to be true, what you know you need to do, what you need to go the distance with, what you need to rise to the occasion with. There is a risk probably for a lot of people right now that's worth taking. But no risk, no reward. That's what I'm hearing with this card. Next card, the Three of Pentacles. So there's some kind of collaboration that we're being invited into. I know what this is for me. Some kind of a collaboration, some kind of coming together with a shared goal. Maybe that's part of rising to the occasion, is a willingness to work together with other people, to be willing to let other people help you, to let other people support you. Again, how tight are your walls? And are your walls isolating you too much? So give some thought to that. And who and what are you feeling called to work together with in order to rise to the occasion? And there's a level of vulnerability, right? Sometimes I have a hard time with like letting people help me, letting people step in and do things for me. There is a vulnerability that comes with that. But the invitation is to do that anyway, to trust that it doesn't have, just because it didn't work out before, it doesn't mean it can't work out now. Hi, Gary for Grace. Thanks for watching. Gary says, blessings and love, Christy. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so amazing. So collaboration, working together in some way. Let me know. Is there something that you're feeling like you want to work together with others on, or something that you're feeling like you need to let people help you with? Watch for opportunities to let people help you. It'll come up for you this week. Part of rising to the occasion is being willing to let other people step in. I think a lot of times I'm built this way, so I can say this. I think we make the assumption that, oh no, I don't want to bother anyone, or I don't want to put anything on anybody. But when you don't allow other people to help you, are you preventing them from fully fulfilling their purpose and their intentions, right? You might be a helper, but maybe they are too. And maybe there is a purpose that only can be fulfilled through them helping you. So being open to that, at least, right? King of Wands in reverse. I think that something is going to be biting us in the ass this week, like nipping at us. Like, you've got to do this. You've got to rise to the occasion. You've got to take this step. You've got to move in this direction. And I think that the intensity of that is going to build and build and build if we are not honoring that. So this is saying, make some moves, do some things that you know are for you. And Enchanted Emerald is watching. The energy for this full moon feels so big. I agree. It's the full moon. It's happening right after the Lionsgate portal. This is a big week. These are important messages. These are important steps that we need to be taking. So the King of Wands in reverse says, get to it. Get to it. Mary says, amen, that delegation is critical, but so hard sometimes. I love this perspective. Yeah, absolutely. It is very hard and also necessary. So King of Wands in reverse. Also, where are you ignoring ideas that inspire you, that excite you, that are fun? Are you kind of just pushing them away, saying, "Oh, I don't know, I'll get to that later. I could never do that. Somebody else could do that, but not me." So if that's you, there's a message for that. This is something that you can do. And so all you have to do is start to move in that direction, right? Because 9 of Pentacles, we're creating really incredible things for ourselves. This person is very comfortable. She's comfortable financially. She's comfortable in terms of how her energy is invested. She's just in a very comfortable position. And I think that this is what we are creating through this. As we rise to the occasion, we recognize that we are important leaders in our own life and that we are creating the very life that we've been dreaming about, and that we have the ability to do that. And so I see this, to me, this is almost like her on the other side of that risk worth taking, her on the other side of choosing to rise to some kind of occasion, to bet it all on herself, to believe in herself enough to take the steps that her intuition is showing her that she needs to take. Because that is powerful. When you honor and listen to your intuition, it will never lead you in the wrong direction. Now, do some things that we honor our intuition for fall apart and fail? Absolutely. Because maybe that was an experience that we were meant to have. Just because our intuition leads us to something doesn't mean that it's always going to go perfectly. It's never going to go wrong, because sometimes the lesson is more important than the blessing. But that being said, I think that we're preparing for a lot more blessings than lessons right now. I think that there's a lot of magic that is available to us this week, but we have to be willing to lean into it, to dream bigger, to bet on ourselves, to take the risk, to rise to the occasion, to do what our soul is showing us that we need to do. Not for anybody else. This is about you. This is between you and God. This is a co-creation. This is a collaboration. And as you do your part, God will do his. God will take care of the rest. So honoring that, honoring yourself, letting yourself crack the door to the possibility that beautiful things can happen for you if you just keep leaning in, and if you can hold the belief of that even just a little bit. So those are your messages for the week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please like this video. I always appreciate when you share these videos. It is so helpful to help them to reach other people. And maybe there are people who need privately to connect with these messages as well. So feel free to send those privately as well. Comment below if you're watching the replay. Just let me know you're watching. All of this helps to support the channel. So thank you so much for being here. Sarwa, I see. Oh, thank you for being a new subscriber. That's amazing. This is a collective reading. So we're talking all about what's going on for the collective and what the messages are that we all need to hear. So thanks for tuning in. And I think that if you come back and rewatch this, there will be some messages there for you that will spark the answer to your own question. Because I think that that's what's important, right? Is that we're honoring our own intuition. And this can, I think, spark that for people so that you can answer your own questions. Because once you learn how to honor yourself, trust yourself enough to honor your intuition, you're unstoppable. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for the likes, shares, all the things. You guys have been amazing with this. Absolute rock stars. I appreciate you all. And I hope to see you inside the Clarity by Christy membership, especially on Friday, 8 for our live Soul Circle Q&A. We're going to be doing Lionsgate stuff, all the things. And I would love to see you inside the membership as well for our Magnetize Your Money Challenge and all of the other things that we're always adding to that membership. So put the link below. I will see you soon with another video. Take care.